little smooch. They have a little kiss, Eduardo. A little distraction, a little dalliance.
And you know what I love about that, by the way, is like we have, right, so many fate decisions. It's like we keep telling our audience, your decisions matter in terms of what's going to happen to these characters. You got to do the endure streams. You got to do the mindfulness puzzles. You kind of have to, you know, if you want the characters to have the outcomes you want, you got to do these systems. The Carlin mandate was not nothing to do with redemption, suffering, or damnation. It's literally, what do you want to see? What do you have fun with? And I mean, personally, when I saw Lovers and Nothing, I was like, yes, come. I was like in the back room, and I was like, come on, Lovers, because I love the drama. The drama is so good. It's you know that's part of like what I enjoy a lot in, I think, shows in general. It's, you know, we have the main plot, right? The kids are missing. It's like there's a whole the foundation, like all of this is like pretty serious, right? Monsters appearing, but they find the time to find each other, and that's important. That's very important.
Yeah, it's giving. This is one of those things where it's the same kind of thing where I would get like a gossipy phone call from somebody with like a friend with an insane family, and it would just leave me going, "Oh, messy, oh, mess, which is my favorite kind of story to get from friends. So I'm right there with you. I was rooting for Lovers, and Lovers won out in the end. Not because listen, there's plenty of. I'm a romantic at heart. There's plenty of love stories I'm genuinely invested in, and I want those characters to be happy. No, I'm looking for delicious mess here, and I'm getting it, Eduardo.
That's excellent. I'm glad you're finding it. I hope you, the audience at home, is enjoying that too. Let's talk very briefly, because the show is going to be in a couple of minutes. Because Brit's kind of come up, and there was that phone call with Brit, and then Astrid confronts Brit about it. But that confrontation certainly did not go how Astrid wanted to.
No, not at all, because it ended with Astrid. She hasn't exactly had a great time with, reality and understanding what's actually happening in front of her. And just adding another question of like, hey, I didn't actually call you with your son in tow, and you're making a fool out of yourself in public. Not like a great layer emotionally for her to add onto her son being missing, her dad macking on her aunt, her sister now appearing, and then oh god, everybody also thinks she's out of her mind.
Yeah, and the decision closing means we might see more of that. I mean, because again, the decision's closing means that the scene's attached to them. Now, time for the show. We got an endurance scene, so our production team's going to put up what you're going to face, and Lila, if you could walk us through that.
Main story characters enters a room only to find one of you, an audience member, dead, being eaten by a snarler. The snarler is a dog-like monster that feeds on human flesh, and definitely not a boy you want to pet. I would like to note, for our faithful followers, still spelled B-O-I. The character gets attacked by another snarler and will have to kick it off and escape, avoiding obstacles thanks to inputs from you, the audience. Eduardo, I think you have some more details for us.
Sure, I spell it B-O-I in our prompter because I care. Now, that said, one of the big things with these endurance scenes, right, is that if a character fills enough of them, they may not survive future encounters, and that may lead to their permanent death in the story. Remember that this is affecting their hope, and characters that are dead don't have hope. Again, rest in peace, Toby. Now, these endurance scenes are one of the best places to earn large amounts of influence points. That's one of the biggest benefits you get from tuning in live, is that whether you succeed or fail, there are influence points at the end of it for you. Now, remember that again, whether you succeed or you fail is what's modifying the story. It's not a judgment on you, right? It's this idea that like the characters get developed from it. So it's helping introduce a little bit of chaos into the story, into the narrative, to make sure that like there's the outcome you want to decide, and that there's the outcome that occurs.
Absolutely. And hey, Eduardo, we only got 2 minutes left, speaking of outcomes, until the show. So would you mind recapping us, taking us out?
Sure, of course. My pleasure. So again, Pennsylvania and Norway are starting to meld in terms of their direction here. Children missing, Orson in Norway, Faith in Pennsylvania. That's a big key aspect here of what we're looking for. Relationships developing. Carl and Mette. On the other side, we have that triangle between Eric, Krista, and Rachel. Rachel and Astrid on both sides have to deal with essentially a lot. Their child is missing, but on top of that, they have their own aspects going on. Obviously, Astra with the interpersonal relationships, and Rachel on the side of the Foundation. Now, also, while we're starting to see the monsters straight up appearing, no more like mystery, what's going on? Nope. They're basically on your screen and in front of our characters. And as our dear BioGeek 93 from some time ago did, eating audience members alive, as we love to do with people who are lucky enough to win. Now, a reminder after the show that we will be back, both myself and Layla, for the post show. We'll break down everything that's been going on. All that's left for us to do now is the show's going to start in about a minute. We really hope you enjoy it. For now, bye. All right, welcome back for now. I'm going to actually throw it to Layla to help kind of explain what's been going on here.
Hi, everybody. Actually, just coming back on for just a second to say that we're experiencing some technical difficulties. So just hang tight here with us in the stream, and Silent Hill Ascension will be on in just a moment.
okay? Yes. No, she's not back yet. Still out in the woods.
Papa? Papa, are you okay? Papa? Is this all you've been doing? Staring at the TV while I search for Orson?
No. I got you some help.
What kind of help?
Trust me. It's for the best.
Papa? Who's at the door?
She's inside.
Papa?
Miss Johansson, I'm from the hospital. I'd like you to come with me.
What the hell is going on? Get your hands off me!
If you continue to resist, I'll have to restrain you.
What did you do?
I love you, Angel.
I will never forgive you.
The doctors didn't find anything wrong with you.
That's because I'm not.
Crazy? A danger to yourself and others? I'm not so sure about that. Astrid, does anyone else have access to your car? Anyone else use it?
No. Why?
Walk me through where you were when Orson went missing.
Wait. Do you think I had something to do with this?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
First, you accuse my father of murder. Then you insinuate I had something to do with Orson's disappearance? Everyone knows you have a vendetta against my family. And this time, you're taking it too far.
We got a tip and found a child's glove stuck to your car tire. Does this glove belong to Orson?
Oh my god.
We're sending it to the lab to get DNA samples. But if there's anything you want to confess now...
I didn't kill my son!
Everything's pointing to you. The 3 days you were missing, your erratic behavior, this glove...
Am I under arrest?
Not yet. We'll have to wait to see what the lab says.
This is crazy. What do I tell my family?
The truth.
How could you? You made me believe the things you told me, that I was blessed. I guess that was all bullshit. And now you want to give Krista all the power? What will she do to me if she's in charge? Can you hear me? Xavier? Can you hear me? Did you have faith? Do you know where she is?
Mommy, let me in! Please! Mommy, open the door!
Faith? Honey, is that you? You have to get far away from here. Do you hear me? Get away from him! It's okay. You're okay. Everything's gonna be fine. Just fine.
What is this place?
Somebody help me! Stay away!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Silent Hill Ascension post show. I am Eduardo, joined here by Layla. And thank you, by the way, as we went through those technical difficulties. I hope you really got to enjoy the scenes we just saw.
Yeah. Man, I think Eduardo, I think you said something in the pre-show, and like obviously, I helped test the contest, so I know what's gonna play that day. I think you said something in the pre-show, and there was this sense in me of like, we don't even know what's coming. A lot happened today. We got Astrid. We talk about the relationships where we got Astrid getting an intervention and then having to talk to Haugen. She's now under suspicion of killing her son, which is nuts. And then, back in Pennsylvania, we got Rachel dealing with the disembodied voice of her missing kid. Busy.
Yes. See, when we're talking intervention, I was more along the lines of, a little bit of a sit down, a talk, coffee. Let's check what things out. Not like full bodied, like, okay, we're going to take you in. Different styles of intervention for different people. Now, that said, if you too want to intervene on Astrid or any of our many extras roles, we're going to put up on our production team is going to put up on screen cameo contest, which is how you too can be part of the show. As you saw, some of our audience members were in the show. Layla, if you could walk us through how that works.
Absolutely. You can be the extra in Silent Hill Ascension. You can take part in cameo contests regularly. Cameo contests are entered with influence points. And Eduardo, I think you have some deets for us.
Right. It's an important part of Silent Hill Ascension, right? The thing is, you, the audience, are deciding what takes place. So it makes sense that you, the audience, also get to go in. And we like to make sure your skin's in the game, so to speak, literally fleeced alive by some of our monsters, depending on your role. Now, as a result, you, the audience member, can be a part of Silent Hill canon forever. We can mention you on the show, especially in some of the starring roles. Now, for you to go in, obviously there's only so many spots, so it's a cameo contest where you enter with your influence points. Now, again, that's regularly. The next one is closing very soon, but again, you'll have regular opportunities to do this. So if you miss this one, you can do so again and again. Now, and that's one of the things. I keep, like, Astrid just keeps getting carried away by our audience member. The audience members are like, okay, we gotta deal with Astrid here.
Yeah, and we're going to deal with her quite physically by lifting her out of her father's house and into an interrogation room with Detective Haugen, who is not letting up on this. She really had zero sympathy and zero hesitation in being like, hey, so here's this bloody mitten. I think you killed your kid.
Yeah. No, earlier on, I lost your mother. Now, no, it's your fault, the kid. Okay, so like not maybe a little bit harsh here. But, going to Pennsylvania again, we're going to have that video play on screen. Our production team is going to put it, Rachel confronting Xavier about his leaderships and questioning his abilities while he remains in a catatonic state. That's the preset of the scene, but Layla, that's not where things heat up.
No. Listen, I'm not a big fan of spooky noises. Not generally a thing I enjoy. And so if I was having an argument with my former boss, or I suppose my current boss's catatonic body, and then suddenly my missing kid starts yelling at me from outside the door, I mean, like, at that point I would enlist myself for an intervention.
Oh, yeah. If you hear the creepy crawlies, yeah. No, hear the disembodied voice. By the way, I know a lot of you obviously are watching this on your phones, and that's great. It lets you kind of watch it wherever you are, wherever that's in your house. I'm going because we want to make sure you're able to catch it live wherever you go. But if you watch our episodes, I would rewatch that one if you can. If you have a home theater system, that'd probably be a nice little experience for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't know if the experience, if I could ever define the experience as nice, considering, I've said it before, I've said it internally, I'll say it here again in front of our audience. The noises those awful little bugs make, no matter what setting you may be using, is horrible. It's heinous, and it makes my skin crawl, and that's a compliment.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're in horror. I hate insects, so that made me I remember, like, I think we because the thing is, we sometimes, you know, when we're in the back waiting on the show, obviously we're watching the scenes as they go live. And, like, I was hearing like this the audio properly again because I like not to spoil myself personally because of the position I'm in. So like I got to hear those sounds uniquely for the first time, and I remember reacting loudly to the rest of the team here in the back. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to hear those noises for the first time in a meeting full of our coworkers, and I had to turn my camera off because I had a physical reaction to hearing them in my headphones. It's again all compliments, but hey, speaking of, I don't even know if I have a smooth transition for this. Speaking of noises, I guess. But what will Astrid tell Britt about the investigation? Is the decision that opened up today. So production will pull up our beautiful graphic. There we go. So once again, what will Astrid tell Britt about the investigation? This is a twofer. So either A, tell her the truth, or C, tell her nothing at all. Leave her completely in the dark. So Eduardo, pretty binary there.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? We have redemption, suffering, damnation. Often you have free choices. Even, again, as with Carl and Meta, you had free choices. One of them was friends, which you were like, oh, no, it's all or nothing, which I respect. Very much from the audience. But here it's a binary choice. It's very much about like kind of that interpersonal relationship. It's, you know, we kind of seen Britt come up. There's been a lot of kind of warnings around her, right? A lot of the damnation options tended to be understanding her. And she's a character that kind of appeared, and it's not super clear what's going on yet. So the question is, for you as an audience, how do you think Astrid stands with her sister based on the information you've seen so far? It's really kind of like, I see this as like kind of a, not so much a choice about Astrid, but a choice really about Britt.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, well, actually, I don't know if I agree with that because speaking of disembodied voices, right? The last interaction we saw Astrid have with Britt was the confrontation after the phone call. So at this point, if you're Astrid, what do you trust more, your perception of your own reality or your sister who came to search for your son despite having a rocky relationship with the family? So it's you can approach that, and that's the fun thing about this interactive streaming format, which is like the audience can choose the way they approach this decision. Is it about Britt, or are you deciding kind of like what information Astrid is relying on? We're gonna find out.
No, and for sure. And again, for you who haven't had the chance to check out our pre-show, again, we start at 5:40 p.m. Pacific on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But we were talking about like the story so far in Norway. That's up on screen. Layla's going to walk us through that again. We'll re-dive into it. So if you weren't here in our pre-show, a little bit of patience as we go through, make sure that we, all of us, we're all together in this. So it's important that all of us together are up to speed.
Absolutely. So in Norway, Orson is still missing, and Haugen decides to shift the operation from rescue to recovery. Astrid confronts Britt about her phone call, demanding to know where Orson is, and Carl and Mette make out, which if you missed the pre-show, we reviewed that scene again because we're messy and we love drama, apparently. I love that.
That's fair. Actually, if I was to look at this through the drama eye, Carl took one action after kissing, kissing Mette, which was basically removing the daughter from the house, which I guess could make sense in a really kind of perverse way. It's like, no, I want the house to myself. Look, here's the deal. Your old man needs a space. We need to basically have this. So you got your issues to deal with. We'll make sure you get that dealt with.
The implications of getting your daughter forcibly removed so that you can do the graveyard smash with your dead wife's sister who you used to have a thing with are monumental. The word picture you've painted for me is staggering.
I mean, that's why Carl's hopes goes down, right? Like that's you could argue that the audience couldn't succeed, but I see it differently. I see it as like Carl is basically dealing with whatever he's putting up here. Obviously, this is all conjecture, but it's kind of funny to think about it this way, right? And the big thing is we saw those two scenes with Astrid, and really the story is focusing around her, and kind of Astrid has a lot on her plate. So like I hope as the weeks progress, that we kind of see how, that's going to be a challenge, I think, for how Astrid deals with it. I'm very much looking forward to it. But, we got another mother on, a little bit further, though, Pennsylvania, and Rachel was hearing her daughter. Now, that was the scene we played, but again, we'll recap the story in Pennsylvania. Again, that was in our pre-show, but we want to make sure we're all up to speed. So that'll be on screen from production. If you could do the pleasure of recapping that for us, Leila.
Over in Pennsylvania, Rachel and Eric argue about how Rachel and Eric argue about how to look for Faith. Eric leaves Rachel to continue searching. Xavier returns in a catatonic state and without Faith, and Rachel learns that he put Krista in charge. Krista and Eric grow closer as they're forced to survive the horrors of the Withering.
Yeah, and in our pre-show we talked a lot about that relationship, right? Krista, Eric, and Rachel. But let's focus really on Rachel. That was the scene we saw, right? It was kind of like we saw Rachel confront Xavier, who not really responsive at this point. But that was definitely a harrowing scene for Rachel. I mean, Astrid and Rachel have to deal with problems, but that was definitely not a problem I'd ever want to deal with on Rachel's side.
I want to deal with normal bugs. You think I want to deal with monster ones that are yelling at me with the voice of a little girl? I think, listen, not a great situation to land herself in. But I mean, as far as, dealing with reality goes, it does, I feel like a lot of time when people join these kind of organizations, it's to try to make sense of reality, right? So if you're in a difficult position and maybe some things have happened, you want to go to a community that can give you some answers. And I think that was, I could reasonably see that having been at least part of Rachel's goal. And now she's ending up with not only more questions than answers, but her kid is missing. And there's nasty chittering bugs everywhere. And her boss is catatonic. So I mean, L's across the board.
Yeah. And here's the last question I have for you, Leila.
Oh boy.
If you were in Rachel's position and you heard Faith's voice through that door with the red coming in, would you open the door or not?
No, Eduardo, I am painting an Acme tunnel on the nearest wall and coyoteing out of there. That is, I am finding the nearest Looney Tunes style exit out of that situation. No way in hell am I opening that door.
Very reasonable. And that was a decision, which is what you, the audience, make a lot of. So we're going to look at some of the decisions you've made so far, especially the ones from the past week. That's going to be on screen. Leila, if you could walk us through that when production does put it up. These are some of the key decisions from the past week.
Yes, absolutely. So one of them is, what will Carl tell Mette he wants them to be? And you said lovers! How will Astrid stop Britt from reporting her to Aurora, deny wrongdoing, the damnation choice? And then what will Rachel tell Eric about Faith's disappearance, which is that the Foundation failed us, and that's the redemption choice. Very interesting. Yep.
No, and one of the things is so one of the things with that last decision, the other two were really close. We'll delve into those, right? Obviously, Carl and Mette, that was a lot of fun. We talked about it a lot. But Astrid stopped Britt from reporting her to Aurora. Damnation and redemption were really close. Damnation edging in is definitely worth a discussion. But that last one, what will Rachel tell Eric about Faith's disappearance? To me, the audience very clearly chose redemption. That wasn't even close. You all, not unanimously, but majorly chose that. That's interesting to me because when we started our story, Rachel was very much Team Foundation. No ifs and buts about it. Really on par with the team. She's up there. She wants the leadership. Now we got the letter from Xavier. Now we got her going the Foundation's failing us. Now we got a dead body. We got Toby gone. Rachel's starting to, go maybe, and had to denigrate her. The Foundation also asked her basically to denigrate her husband. So now we're kind of at this point of, well, maybe she's not so trustworthy about that organization.
Yeah, maybe if you'll pardon the turn of phrase here, maybe her foundation of trust is crumbling a little bit. But Eduardo, what would have been your what flag is the reddest for you? Is it the death of a friend? Is it the what would get you to maybe follow the Rachel path of starting to doubt the teachings of this organization?
I think the knife, the palm, and the blood are pretty up there, along with the circle and the handles. But that, the red flags are a lot sooner. But in Rachel's perspective, I'm not even sure about the Toby situation. It really depends. I think the flag with it's kind of tough, right? Because she's asked her husband to join, and then they're clearly like pretty antagonistic to the husband, use your husband, etc. And I find that that should have already been kind of a flag. Instead of going like you have to kind of use and abuse, it should have been more like, okay, well, he's an acolyte. Like, how about he helps us do this? And like that should have been, I think, the flag. The Molotov cocktail from Toby was also a relatively okay flag, I think. There were many, 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 many red flags on the path to where we are.
Yeah, listen, I've never had a Molotov cocktail thrown at me, knock on wood, but I did once upon a time used to work at a sandwich-based establishment, and I did have an interaction with a customer where he just came in and was so upset about the state of his sandwich that he didn't even acknowledge me or my coworker and just like went to the hallway where you could see back to the office and started yelling for a manager who was not there. We were the only people in the building. And in that moment, watching this man who was wearing a top hat for some reason, just yelling for a manager as me and my teenage coworker, I was also a teenager at the time, just stood there. I was like, this is a clearing a threshold of crazy that I am willing to put up with for the wage that I am being paid. And so like, I'm not sure if being a member of the foundation is a paid job, but at some point I would at least metaphorically, if I were Rachel, and I think my threshold would be, I don't know, the dead body, I would maybe at that point be like, hey, I think ritual sacrifice above my pay grade. I think I'm out of here.
I do agree the top hat is a wake-up call. That's a good sign. If a top hat is involved, yeah. Also payment, and you say the foundation isn't a paid job, but they do pay in blood after all. That's a reasonable take. Now, again, yeah, for sure. We also didn't talk about like how here Astrid confronted Britt, but one of the things is that's going to be ongoing developing. So that's a relationship as well to keep an eye on. We just wanted to highlight that you as an audience have chosen the damnation path here. We had a lot of redemption choices. So when the damnation path is chosen, that's a little bit off course, which not a problem at all, for sure. You should take the option that's the most entertaining. But it's fascinating to me how close redemption and damnation are in a lot of these decisions. And personally, from kind of the development team side, we're really looking forward to how you as an audience are developing the story and where things are going. Personally, when I look at these options, I also try to look at what is the action that is leading to damnation. And there, the fact that she's denying wrongdoing is, I think, as interesting as the aspect of it being damnation. It's like, so denying wrongdoing is what is leading her down the damnation path. Like, what does that mean? And that's what I would like to do. But again, we don't really have a fate decision coming up. We have this decision that kind of came in today, it's going to come up back on screen. And the thing here is, while that's on screen, there's another one, there's another decision here that's coming up right in Pennsylvania, which is how will Eric respond to Krista? And that's not closing today, that's closing tomorrow. You got a full day. We won't be on tomorrow. So Layla, I'm going to read this out to you. It's like, how will Eric respond to Krista? A, I do deserve better. B, I love my wife. And C, mind your business. So this is the one that we just opened on screen, right? How will Astrid tell Bert about the investigation? This one is like, so the audience in the drama seat is going between I do deserve better for Eric and I love my wife, which I find fascinating.
Yeah. So as you were talking, I was thinking about the fact that I do love a classic power struggle between redemption and damnation, but I have been on record and on recording a person who has once in a while rooted for the suffering option, and Noah has as well, right? Because it's truly this like nebulous purgatory of choice of like, yeah, I could do the good thing, I could do the thing, that I think is right in the moment, but will lead me down a certain path. Or I could do the worst of both worlds and just make everything painful along the way. And man, I love my wife in this situation is a pretty big non-answer from Mr. Eric, right? Because you're not quite telling her to leave you alone. We're not quite telling her to not leave you alone. So you're really opening yourself up to some continued advances.
I do actually wonder, by the way, while it's a pretty green flag to say I do deserve better, do you actually think that Eric should be with Krista with that answer? Just going like, no, I do deserve better. None of this nonsense.
Interesting subjective question, because you are asking then from Eric's perspective, is Krista better? And I haven't seen enough evidence to draw, as a connoisseur of drama and a connoisseur of romance, I have not yet seen enough evidence to kind of point me either way. Again, we love a bold lady. We love someone who knows what she wants. She's 30, flirty, and fun. I don't actually know if she's 30, but it's a fun rhyme. So who's to say? But the audience will certainly make up their minds about it, Eduardo. But in the meantime, it's actually almost time for you and I to leave them to do that.
No, that's for sure. And you'll have to tune in to future shows to kind of see how the story develops. Now, we've kind of seen a lot of it happen, right? The children are still missing. We don't know where they are. Well, to be fair, we did hear Faith's voice. I'm not convinced she was behind the door. She might have been. What was behind that door were creeping, crawling insects. On the other side in Norway, we had Astrid kind of getting dragged away by audience members, deciding, you know what, we got to advance the plot here, so let's get her into with the detective. But no, like starting to get accused, right? She was looking for her son, and like things are getting really harrowing for kind of both of our mothers on each side in Norway and in Pennsylvania. Now when we're off, one of the things is you can stick around with us by doing the mindfulness puzzles. That's in the, you get to do that and raise characters' hopes up, try to get a better outcome for them. So again, if you get like the kind of 3-star ratings in mindfulness puzzles, that character hope will go up. Now we're going to have this graphic on screen that's going to talk to you about our next shows. We essentially have our pre-shows, again, 5:40 Pacific, 8:40 Eastern. PM, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We have the show that's every single weekday. If you've been in with us a long time, we used to do weekends. Now it's just weekdays. Again, 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern. Whenever we do the pre-show on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, that will be followed with a post-show that's in the company, usually of myself, Layla, or Noah, who you might have seen. Sometimes, if you're lucky, a guest who does appear and whose presence we love, just to do a few interviews and try to give you, the audience, a bit of insight into our development processes. That's kind of it for tonight. You can stick around again. But in the meantime, I hope that wherever you are around the world, rain, shine, or fog, you had a great time. We'll see you there.